thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you, Governor, and thank you for the courtesy of being able to be here on stage with you and with your fellow governors in the West and with these fellow panelists. Once again, I think this publication is maybe one of the best things any Governors Association has done on industrial energy efficiency, BAM. So to your staff, congratulations. I'm going to draw the governor's attention to a sentence because sometimes they don't always read these things on the plane on the way home. A governor's leadership within a state is key to encouraging energy efficiency. And as my three fellow panelists have all said, policy can be very key and be a key embrace for the private sector as well as the public sector to embrace the power of energy efficiency. As some of the data showed, you can get more in terms of emissions reduction from what you do around energy efficiency than almost any other avenue on the energy side. And so it is important for you to do that. I'm going to call your attention to one other conversation that I had before I make some remarks just about what a state, I think, can do. And it was recently with a group of people who are analysts, energy analysts, about manufacturing decisions, where to manufacture. And they said, with the advent of robotics, labor costs actually become less of a concern about locating in China or America if you're considering those two places for manufacturing. And the single biggest factor can be the cost of energy. A state that embraces energy efficiency and thereby finds ways for the industrial world, the manufacturing world, to decrease their energy costs per unit of production is going to be attractive and more attractive than places that aren't paying the same level of attention to that. That could be competition between states, but it's as important and maybe more importantly, our competition on a global scale. So there's a lot of things that states can do from a policy framework, and certainly it's been mentioned, building codes. The retrofit is important, and you can look at that through energy efficiency resource standards and building codes, but the go forward is just as important. In Colorado, I think 50% of the buildings that will be in place in 2021 will have been built in this century, will have been built since the year 2000. The other 50% were constructed before that, but that's why presently having in place an energy efficiency resource standard that is compatible with the building code that really requires us to think about energy efficiency going forward. Energy services companies, and Don made reference to them for veterans, but states can make great use of energy services companies, and they come in and they guarantee that whatever you save on the upgrade will be used to finance, or what you use to finance the upgrade will be paid back to you, and basically it winds up being, at the very worst, it winds up being a zero investment on your part, an outlay, a capital outlay, because you're making it all back in what you save. And the energy services companies can guarantee that because they understand as well the power of it. Performance contracting, while working probably better in the public sector than it does in the private sector, is something that is really important for states to embrace. And because of the level of energy consumption in government offices, whether we're talking about state, local, municipal, or even federal, performance contracting with those entities can make a real difference in the embrace, again, of government in the way that they then utilize energy efficiency and the way that they can lead and demonstrate for the private sector the capability of energy efficiency measures. Weatherization, I just would say to the Department of Energy, and I'll speak, Governor Hickenlooper, the present governor of Colorado, is on his way, and I think he would agree with me that Colorado made great use of the Department of Energy's assistance that was provided in the Recovery Act. We went from weatherizing something less than 3,000 homes and almost tripled that number because of the Recovery Act dollars. And it was also a great job creator. And Don, you mentioned veterans. In Colorado, we actually contracted with a group of folks, they called themselves Green Veterans, and they were doing the weatherizing, and returning veterans who were doing weatherizing in 2 different regions in Colorado, strictly veterans who were employed doing that. And so, again, weatherization for low cost, while this isn't industrial, it is a really significant job creator and an important part of an energy efficiency portfolio. And finally, I would say the financing part of this is critical. At the Colorado State University Center for the New Energy Economy, we're working with states on policy options across the sort of energy spectrum, but financing, we understand, is one of the big questions. And Connecticut just passed an omnibus energy bill, but they took their public benefits fund and they used that public benefits fund for funding. It's an infrastructure bank, really, an energy infrastructure bank. I was just filling in for you. Now you're here, I can now. But they use that for building out energy efficiency measures and clean energy measures across. And so all states, just almost all states, have funds like that if they want to dedicate them to things like this. They can actually have a financing mechanism that's already in place. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be here and to be able to converse with you.
Well, thank you very much, Bill, and thanks again for joining us. John, do you want to add anything to that?
Obviously, I've learned from experience. There's nothing I can add.
Well, once again, I want to thank